You've reached the Monetization Matrix with me, your host, Kristian Hansen, your expert with insights into payment and subscription strategies, where I discuss how to help you monetize your products and services for growth. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monetization Matrix. This is episode 8. And I'm very excited to have a guest. This is the first time I've ever had a guest on the podcast. I have Jimmy Somarajan with me, and we used to work together at Levi Strauss. Right, Jimmy? How long ago was that?
Yeah, that was I think 2017, 2018. It's a while back.
I know. Time flies. So obviously, you're on the Monetization Matrix now. Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
It's good to reconnect. I'm finding that having this podcast is a good way to reach out to people, check in. So, that was 2017 and now we're in 2014 or 2024. Sorry, not 2014. We didn't go backwards in time. Maybe I should record these earlier in the day, but, what have you been up to over the last 6-7 years?
Yeah. First of all, I want to take the chance to say thank you for having me on as a guest here. It's my first podcast too, so I'm excited for that. And I think it's always fun to do it with somebody rather than doing it by yourself. So again, kudos to you for starting something like this. But yeah, going back, I joined Levi's in 2017, and that's when we met, working on payments and stuff back then. Since then, I'm still at Levi's, so it's probably a good thing. I've been working on other parts of the website, primarily on the e-com side of the things. But since then, I've expanded my portfolio to do more omni-channel related initiatives, bigger projects, I guess more things related to our brand. More recently, I've started owning our global loyalty program, as well as owning our search implementation on the site. So yeah, that's what I've been up to in the last few years.
And as I recall, one of the projects that we worked on back in the day was Apple Pay. We made it possible for people to check out buying things on e-commerce with Apple. So that's really blown up since then, since that timeline.
Yeah, I think when we did this in 2017, it was still kind of one of the new things on the block, right? PayPal was already established, but I think outside of that, Apple Pay was this new way of just paying through your phone, right? And it was so quick for people to pay, and they could just buy things very, very easily. I think since then, the payment landscape has obviously added on so much more. Now there's Venmo, Google Pay. There are all these installment plans like Afterpay and things like that. So yeah, it has definitely evolved since then.
Yeah, I remember we were looking at some buy now, pay laters back in that time frame, 2017, 2016. And at the time, at least the company, when we were talking with them, they were saying that our carts were too small. They were saying, we need $350. But now it seems like everyone's using buy now, pay later. I don't think nowadays that would be a problem. Yeah.
Exactly. Doesn't matter if it's $10, doesn't matter if it's $1,000. It's you can break it up into 4 payments or something like that. And it's okay. People are using it. It's not like they're not, right? So I think there definitely is value in it. And it's giving people one more option, right? In case they're thinking about buying something a little expensive and they don't want to spend as much money right now, but just giving that option to them lets them buy something earlier than later.
Yeah, and you mentioned that recently, or currently, you're working more in the loyalty space. What does loyalty mean at Levi's?
So I would loyalty across the board is kind of finding the customers that are most loyal to your brand, to put it very generically, right? Again, there are multiple aspects to it, but at the end of the day, it's giving people that value your brand the best experience you can give them, right? So that you give them enough value, enough experiences so they can keep coming back and drive that kind of brand affinity and also the love for the brand. Levi's, I think from the longest time, has always been a very like iconic. It's a denim brand, but it goes along with so many other things, right? It has gone along with like rock and roll. Steve Jobs used to rock our jeans when he was announcing the iPhone. That's one of the most iconic things we have. We have musicians wear Levi's like jackets and jeans and stuff, and then people just go crazy after it. So again, there are lots of different ways of defining loyalty, but I think at the core of it, it's giving the best experience to your most loyal members.
Yeah, and you made a comment right before we hopped on here. Like I am wearing, and for those that if this ever ends up on YouTube or wherever, I'm wearing a jacket that I got from one of the sample sales, and it's actually this is actually a one of a kind with a Pendleton collaboration. And I was in the Pendleton store a couple days ago, and I was talking with the manager, and she was like, "Yeah, Levi's is like the only outside company that we sell inside of Pendleton stores."
Oh wow!
And I was like, it's because of that loyalty and that brand affinity.
Right. And I think that's the thing, right? So we sell direct to consumers, but then we also have partnerships with like the big retailers, right? The big wholesalers like the Kohl's or the Targets, the Costco's and all of those places as well. Macy's, JCPenney's. I think if you go into a Macy's, you'll see like a section dedicated to Levi's. I think I've seen similar ones at Target too, which was again a more recent development. But it's one of those brands that you see around, and I think not just in the US too, right? It's a global brand. I think I've seen people rock Levi's a lot in Europe, right? I'm originally from India. In India, it's a huge brand. And I think in some of the foreign countries, it's more of a luxury brand per se than maybe what we consider over here. So I think, again, catering to all those different customers, it's actually interesting. And again, loyalty plays a big part in all of those pieces as well.
So how do you, so loyalty obviously is a big thing. Is there red tab? Is that the loyalty? How does,
right.
And how do you guys think about loyalty? Not just like, do people love it? They obviously do, but how do you track something like, I like something? Okay, great. There's like an NPS score for that. So is there a loyalty score?
There's more than one score, I would say. There are a few KPIs, key performance indexes that you would want to measure, right, for any loyalty program. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned the fact that, is it called Red Tab or something like that? It is called a Red Tab loyalty program within Levi's. One of the first things that we found when we embarked on this journey was that we had loyalty programs in different parts of the world, and in different countries we were called different things, right? So one of the first things that we wanted to do was kind of unify the name, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're in India, whether you're in South America, you walk into a store in Paris or in San Francisco or anywhere in the US, right? At least the loyalty brand name should be the same, right? So it knows this is like the Levi's loyalty program. So that was one of the first things we had to do. And then now going back to KPIs, there are different KPIs that you want to measure as part of a loyalty program, right? One of the topmost things is retention, right? Which means that once you acquire a customer, are you able to keep them for long term? There are lots of customers who will probably join a program because they're getting like a 10% off or 20% off coupon. Or they might get like free shipping for that first purchase or something like that. So they would join, use it, and then never come back to it, right? So that doesn't help from a loyalty program. You want to build that long-term relationship, right? So retention is one of the first things. Now, how do you do that? There are different ways to do it. One is, one of the first things that you want to do is show the members or the customers what the value of being a loyal member is, right? It's not like I'm giving you a 20% off coupon the first time you buy and then that's it, right? You go back to being a regular member. You want to customize that experience about in being a loyal member, and then continue to give them like rewards and recognition that you are a Levi's loyalty member, and this is what you get in being like a loyalty member. One of the things that other thing you measure is like CLTV, which is a customer lifetime value. again, if a customer just comes, checks out as a guest every time and goes, they might use the same email, they might use the same phone number or something like that, which can help you kind of figure out if it's the same customer or not. But it still doesn't help build that history, right? That you would have if they kind of always come and log in using the same profile, right? And then you see that, okay, they're buying certain products on the site. When they walk into the store, they might be buying a gift for somebody, or they might be buying different types of products, and how you can cater those experiences to those customers, right?
How do you track that omni-channel experience to tie the customer? Is it through their phone number or email or something like that? So if they're in a store,
you would have a unique identifier that you would need for a specific member, right? I guess, two of the most common ones are email and phone number, right? I would say the more newer way is to track using their phones, because right now everyone has a smartphone, right? People spend more time on a smartphone than a laptop anymore. That was not probably the case maybe 5-10 years ago, but now with the whole social media aspect of it, and how things are so easy to buy using your phone, phone number is definitely one of the more popular identifiers that people would track. But then, like I said, email is an option. The more old school way was to give out like a unique identifier, like a loyalty number, you can say that, which is kind of like an identifier behind the scenes, and use that number to identify them. But again, at the end of the day, they would either give out that number or their phone number or an email. And I think what we've seen and what is most common is people will not remember like a random 5-10 digit number, right? So it's easier for them to give out the email or phone number. So usually you would use something like that to track them. And
because I have like an Ace rewards card for Ace Hardware,
right?
And I have the Ace app on my phone, and they physically are mailing me all these things that are like $5 off, $25 spend, and $50. And I remember for a long time, I would go into the store and I'd say like, I know you guys send me all this crap in the mail, but I don't like keep it in my pocket for the random time I walk into. Exactly. And they're like, download the app. So then now whenever I go into the store, I'm like, here's the app, scan the app.
So if you remember back in the day, every store used to give out those small barcodes that you would put on your keychain, right? And you would go scan that every time. So I used to live in Ohio back in the day. Kroger was a big grocery chain there. And so Kroger used to have like a small tag with a barcode on it, which was kind of your unique identifier. So you would scan that. I had like 15, 20 of those on my keychains, right? So this was the time when people used to carry around keys and like keychains. I barely carry keys anymore, right? Pretty much everything is keyless at this point. So it makes sense that you want to kind of move away from those old school unique identifiers to something that you use on a regular basis, right? So I think one of the loyalty programs I use a lot personally as a customer is Starbucks, right? I can walk into any Starbucks. I make sure I use my app to kind of scan every time, because again, you get rewards, right? So every time my kid wants like a cake pop, I can kind of use my points to pay for it. I don't have to like buy it every time, right? And similarly, so I think that's kind of like the experience you want to build for any loyalty program. Now, obviously, a grocery chain and maybe like a coffee shop is something that a user might go to a lot, many times, maybe two to three times a week, versus like apparel, right? Or furniture. You would probably not buy like every month or maybe every 3 months. But building a loyalty program in those kind of avenues is like, you want to make sure that when they think about buying when they think about making the next purchase, that they come back to you, right? And they're not going to a competitor or something like that. So I think that's the piece that you want to also target.
So with the emergence of loyalty programs, how do you think about personalization within that? Or like you were mentioning, when it's the holidays or a special event or something that you're top of mind, how does a company use their loyalty program to then remain on top of their customers' minds?
Right. So I think personalization, again, you can go to crazy lengths to personalize, right? One of the top advantages of having a loyalty program where you ask a customer to sign in and provide some of the information is that you can get zero and first party data directly from the consumer, right? Obviously, they have to consent to give you the data. Nothing worse than that consent. Right? Just they have to opt in to get your marketing emails and things like that. But you'd be surprised based on the rewards that you might give to users. They are willing to give you more information than if they than without that, right? So, for example, like we'll give you something free for your birthday, right? If you give something like that, they're more than willing to give you their birth date, and with that, you at least kind of know are they like a Gen Z? Are they a millennial? Are they like in their they're like more older generation segments of users and things like that? And then you can kind of personalize experiences based on that as an example, right? Again, old school ways was we would ask for gender, right? But I think that has now changed to more like shopping preference, right? What that means is like me as a middle-aged male would say that, you know what, I'm a male, so people would automatically say, you know what, I'll give you all men's products as recommendations and things like that. But that's not always true, right? I might be buying for me like 70% of the time, but then I might want to buy a gift for a kid or gift for a family member or something like that. Right. So if I'm a middle-aged person, there are high chances that I'll be not only shopping for myself, I'll be shopping for like kids or a family and things like that. Whereas if you're like a younger person, you're probably mostly doing it for yourself. And maybe in the holidays, you're buying gifts for like family and friends and so on and so forth, right? So again, it's all data collection that eventually will help you make more personalized experiences. Like, for example, a not so personal experience would be like, okay, you get free shipping every time you make a purchase. You get free returns, and you have different options of returning as well. So these are like the more not generic, non-personalized options. But let's say we figure out our customers' CLTV, right? And we say, you know what, the top 10% spenders are like our gold layer or whatever you want to call it, like that, right? You can give them free shipping during the holidays. You can give them free 2-day shipping or free overnight shipping only for that segment of users, right? So that's kind of personalizing them, letting them know that even if you want to purchase something last minute, we'll get it to you ASAP rather than, hey, you have free shipping, but it'll get you like 8 or 10 days or whatever, right?
So is that kind of like a surprise and delight type moment then? I would imagine if you're a customer, you're expecting free shipping, and then they get it in 2 days and they're like, whoa, that didn't even go ground. They like sent it to me super fast.
Absolutely. I think that definitely is one of the aspects of the whole retention thing too, right? Is that you do want to give them surprises every once in a while like this. Like, for example, on your birthday, you would get like maybe, I don't know, a free customization or like free repairs of your jeans or jacket or something like that. Again, there are multiple ways to do it. So we used to have I think we still have customizations of like jackets and t-shirts and things like that. We could give that out for free. We have seen people use patches a lot on their, like, to kind of express themselves on their jackets and jeans and all that.
Right.
We would give free patches and like free application of the patches and things like that, right? So people like those kind of things for sure. The surprise and delight aspect of it is absolutely there. The other thing you could also do is like gamify the experience, right? Where you could say that, you know what, nothing to do with purchasing apparel. If you enter a sweepstakes or a raffle, you win a free, like you win free tickets to, I don't know, a Taylor Swift concert or something like that, right?
My wife would love that.
I know, absolutely. And again, different parts of the world, there are different types of raffle sweepstakes that work.
Of course.
Where again, you can surprise and delight folks, right? I remember like it was like an AT&T ad that I got that, enter a sweepstakes and you can get like 2 Super Bowl tickets. I jumped on that immediately. You never know. I've never won anything like that, but it's just that little chance, right? And then again, you do feel happy that I might have a chance to win, right?
Right.
So I think gamification is another way where you can surprise and delight your customers. And again, going back to personalization, right? When I talked about creating segments, you can slice and dice them into all different types of segments. The one that I talked about was more like the highest spenders. There could be folks who have not interacted with us maybe in the last 6 months, and then you might want to give them like a nudge to come back, and then give them a special coupon or show them something new that's coming up. We also add exclusive products for our members, where you'll have the first chance to buy the product before it's released out to the regular public, right? So I think we do a lot of collabs, which are pretty popular. We have done collabs with musicians, sports athletes,
right,
with brands like Pokemon and Air Jordans and things like that, right? So again, people are like waiting for those kind of things, and just if you can give like your loyalty members like even like 3 hours worth of time versus like opening it up to the rest of the world, it does give them the feeling of that I'm
we did something kind of like that when I was working at Crunchyroll, which is where I went after Levi's, and we created 3 tiers of subscription for anime, and the highest tier, which is $14.99 a month, you got free shipping if you bought anything from our e-commerce store. You also got I think it was like a 10% discount on anything in the e-commerce store. And we would send you like an annual gift bag. So it was kind of like, hey, if you love anime and you're going to be watching a lot of anime, then that drove a lot of loyalty. Now the gift bags, I mean, I don't remember the economics, but I'm sure they only cost us, $10 or something like that. But these people are paying $15 a month times 12 months in the year. And the little, like you said, the patches and some of these personalized things, people value them, but they don't necessarily have to cost the company a lot of money to produce.
Absolutely. And I think there's always that fine line that you have to look at, right? Like, are you paying too much to get the return on the investment? And I think more often than not, we have seen that the surprise and delight aspect of it, you do end up getting a lot more revenue and margin from it than what you actually end up spending. So I think there's definitely that part to it as well.
You mentioned gamification. I travel quite a bit, and I am a big Hyatt hotels guy. And
great example.
every night I spend in a Hyatt hotel, I acquire nights, and then that gives me status. And then I become like a discoverer after 5 nights or something, or 20 nights a year. And then I can check in later or check out later at like 2:00 instead of 11. And I can check in earlier. I get free water. It seems like if they're targeting a demographic of travelers, and if I have the choice between a Marriott and a Hyatt, that I'm going to go with the Hyatt. Or unless I'm a Marriott guy, then I'm going to go with the Marriott.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is, I think you brought up a really good example, right? So I think hotels, flights, travel in general, people do a lot. Especially, so my previous gig to Levi's was in consulting, right? I used to travel for work, and I think that's like, again, you definitely need you'd be loyal to ideally one flight company and one hotel chain, right? Because then eventually when you go on vacations, you can end up using a lot of those points for the exact things you said, right? I used to be a Hilton guy back in the day, right? And primarily Southwest, right? From a travel perspective. So those were the 2 things I used to use a lot. And I traveled quite a bit. And 2 times I got my room upgrades for free. And again, I use them in a Hilton in Hawaii, and one was like a Hilton in Venice. And both I got some beautiful rooms. And again, it was like it felt proud to be a Hilton loyalty member at that time, right? So I'm sure like that definitely adds to the whole loyalty aspect as well. And I think people do use points and things like that quite a bit. And I think those companies have used the whole loyalty program to like crazy lengths, right? Where you would get all these different types of promotions and bonuses and experiences and all of that. So I think, that's a great example from a loyalty standpoint.
I think I heard, and I don't recall exactly what it was, but something like that some of the airlines are worth less than their rewards programs.
Oh, okay.
Because there's like billions and billions of dollars of points that have been accumulated, miles that have been flown. And so like if people were to try to cash in all of their points and all of their miles at once, the companies would go out of business. But they know that from a loyalty perspective, it drives revenue, but that the percentage of people that are actually taking advantage of their points is minimal. I mean, it's crazy. You think about all those people, they're like, I just need more points. And you're like, are you ever going to use these points?
Yeah, you're going to use them. Exactly.
And some people do. And then some people are hoarders. And they're just like, no, I need my points. And
yeah, I think there's like a whole different group of folks out there with like blogs and these. Like, I don't know if you've heard of like the points guy,
of course,
and again the fire folks who end up using a lot of this. The other big one is credit cards, right? Now, credit cards have kind of come into that. I would say in the last 10 years, I've gone crazy on the whole point system and how they give you bonuses and other points and things like that. And people have like figured out ways to just use credit cards and the chains to kind of intermingle points to eventually get your best deal. And then people have got like free business class tickets and things like that. So there's a lot there. But again, it's a small, I would say, percentage of the population doing that. Whereas I think they end up making a lot more revenue from the folks who don't end up.
That is actually kind of almost so it could either go two ways. This whole credit card thing. It seems to me from a loyalty perspective, you're either churning through cards and you're just signing up for the bonuses and you have zero loyalty. You're like, I don't care at all. I'm just going to pay to get your, 2 free nights or your round trip ticket. And then I'm going to drop you. Right. Or you go the complete opposite, which is I'm only going to use one card and I'm only going to use it a lot. And I'm only going to get all those points, my Sky Miles and my Delta and my Centurion, lounge access.
Right.
And it seems to swing both ways in terms of loyalty.
Absolutely. I think 100%. I think, like I said, the school of thought of folks who do the churn, you have to be on top of your game, right? Because like it's multiple cards, multiple programs that you need to kind of keep track of. And I think most people do not have the patience or the time to do that. So there's a group of folks who do it, which I think is a small percentage. But again, the higher number of it are still probably in it for like probably the longer term loyalty and the points, and then stick to one thing and keep going in along those lines.
So we've covered a lot in terms of like loyalty. Where do you think loyalty is going, like in the future? Like, is there? And I don't want to ask a trick question here because but like everyone's talking about Gen AI. Is Gen AI, does it have anything to do with loyalty, or is loyalty so old school that like it's not evolving enough that you need that? Or you talked about personalization. Well, that requires data. So like, where do we go next? Like you talked about some of the KPIs, customer lifetime value, retention. Where does it go next in the next couple of years where it wasn't in the past?
Right. So I think you bring up a great point. I think loyalty programs have evolved over a period of time. Right. Before it was just, hey, let us know who you are so we can track your purchases, and then we provide you recommendations based on your past purchases. Right. That used to be like the old school recommendation engine or recommendation like algorithms that people would run. Right. But that has changed dramatically, I would say, in the last 5-6 years, where we are not looking at only your past history. That's probably one aspect of the data that you give us. But it's almost like hyper-personalization or near real-time personalization, where maybe you bought like something 6 months ago doesn't mean you want to buy the exact same thing right now, right? You might be looking for something else. So we probably want to track you from the viewpoint as to how you're interacting with us through whichever channel. It could be your mobile phone, on an app, it could be on the site, it could be in a store, to figure out, hey, you know what, today this person is looking to buy something else. So let's give them personalized offers to help them make that choice and then eventually quickly go through the sale, right? So like I said, I gave an example where I usually buy men's products, but I could be looking for a gift for my wife. And so I'm looking at women's jeans today, right? And again, I think everybody knows sizes of pants are different with different brands and things like that. So what fits one person may not fit the other person, and so on and so forth. But if you do see me looking at like the PLP or the search results in the women's section, we know that, hey, you know what, this guy's looking to buy a product that he usually doesn't buy. So we might maybe present him with an offer and help him buy that gift more faster, rather than having to kind of look around and then kind of not make up their mind and just leave, right? We could also provide free returns, right? So in case something doesn't work out, you should be able to return it very easily and get make an exchange or buy something else. So again, there are multiple aspects like that. Recommendations itself, I think, is a huge different. It's run very differently now than what it was before. Like I said, we used to look back at much older history versus now. We're seeing that what you're purchasing right now and what you're looking at right now. So we're not going to recommend you men's products now. We'll recommend you women's jeans or women's tops or something that can complement what you're looking to buy and things like that, right? So similarly, in a loyalty aspect, you can do the same thing, right? You can provide recommendations.
So is loyalty going towards personalization?
100%.
Like the more, so I mean, because I remember personalization's been a hot topic for a long time with a lot of companies, and it seems like maybe it's almost a boomerang, where in order to drive loyalty, we need to drive personalization, and it's like this virtuous circle where you tell us about what you like,
right?
And then you give us that information by being loyal. Then we can provide recommendations and personalize things for you that we think that you would like, so that way you can have a better customer experience.
Yeah, see, at the end of the day, the whole crux of personalization is data, right? The more data you have, the more options you have to personalize an experience for a consumer. So you're absolutely right that they are really they're interconnected with each other, where the more data you give us, the more options we have to give you personalized recommendations or personalized offers and things like that. And not only that, like one thing is offers and stuff like that. Even when you search for a product, we can look at what you like or what data we have, and maybe even show specific search results on top versus maybe showing it to a different person, right? So there are different ways you can personalize experiences for your consumers.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on to the Monetization Matrix. Is there any other tidbits or juicy things coming up that we need to know about in the Levi's e-commerce space?
Oh, so Levi's e-commerce, again, I can't reveal too many insights, but I think like every brand, we are looking to be more direct to consumer, right? Across every channel, right? It doesn't matter whether you're again shopping on your app, shopping on a website, ideally even going to maybe like a wholesaler and kind of or doesn't matter whether you're shopping in the US or in different parts of the world. Our North Star would be that we know exactly who you are, no matter where you interact with us, right? So that would be the North Star. We'll figure out if we can get there or not. I think that's one of the top things with most brands, and everybody's trying to do that. Get as much data, figure out who they are as soon as possible.
Well, I hope you guys are able to do that. I'm sure that you will, because you guys work very hard. You're all very smart. So I'm cheering from the sidelines out here in Montana And next time I'm in San Francisco, I'll have to come out and say hello. So
absolutely, yeah, I look forward to it. It's been a while since we met up, so this was a great experience to sit and chat about what we've been doing for the last few years. And thanks for having me on here.
All right, awesome. Well, take care, and we'll talk soon. And to everyone listening online, thank you for listening to Monetization Matrix, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Remember to hit that subscribe button and tell all your nerdy friends.